The First Contact Deception. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Haven's Light, watching the crystalline spires of the Xarian capital ship grow larger against the backdrop of distant stars. After 6 months of careful negotiations, humanity was about to make its first official contact with an advanced alien civilization. The Xarians had seemed peaceful, eager to share knowledge and technology with Earth's rapidly expanding colonies. Too eager, perhaps. Final approach vector confirmed, Ambassador. Lieutenant James Rodriguez announced from his station. Xarian control says we're clear to dock in 10 minutes. Sarah nodded, her reflection in the viewport betraying none of the unease she felt. 20 years in diplomatic service had taught her to trust her instincts, and something about this whole situation felt wrong. The Xarians had approached Earth's outermost colony with advanced technology freely offered, promising to help humanity join the greater galactic community. They'd even provided specifications for faster-than-light travel as a show of good faith. Dr. Maya Patel, the mission's chief xenobiologist, joined Sarah at the viewport. Still worried about their motivations, she asked quietly. When someone offers you everything you want without asking for anything in return, it usually means you're the product, not the customer, Sarah replied. Have you finished analyzing those medical scanning protocols they sent? Maya nodded, her dark eyes troubled. That's what concerns me. The scanning requirements are incredibly specific, focused almost entirely on human neural patterns and genetic markers. It's far more detailed than necessary for basic health screening. The docking procedure went smoothly. Too smoothly, Sarah thought. The Xarian ship's interior was a marvel of biotechnology, with corridors that seemed to breathe and walls that pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Their escort, a tall, elegantly proportioned being with iridescent scales and multiple pairs of arms, led them through a series of chambers that grew progressively larger. The High Council awaits, the escort announced, gesturing toward a massive set of doors that seemed to be grown from living crystal. Please proceed. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped forward. The chamber beyond was vast, its ceiling lost in shadows high above. Dozens of Xarian council members sat in tiered rings around a central platform, their scaled bodies gleaming in the soft light. But something was wrong. The air felt thick, heavy with an electromagnetic charge that made her skin tingle. High Councilor Zixtal, their primary contact during the negotiations, rose to greet them. Ambassador Chen, we welcome humanity to the greater galaxy. Before we proceed with the formal ceremony, we have prepared a small demonstration. Sarah felt it then, a pressure building in her mind, like a migraine but more focused, more deliberate. Around her, she saw Maya and James stiffen, their hands going to their temples. The Xarians were watching intently, their compound eyes fixed on the humans with an intensity that had nothing to do with diplomatic protocol. Interesting, Zixtal said, his voice carrying a note of surprise. Increased the psychic amplitude. The pressure intensified, becoming a screaming force that threatened to tear through Sarah's consciousness. But instead of succumbing, she felt something else, a kind of mental immunity building, her thoughts automatically reorganizing themselves to resist the invasion. Looking around, she saw the same thing happening to her companions. Maya was already standing straighter, while James had actually drawn his ceremonial sword, his movements uninhibited by the psychic assault. Impossible, one of the council members hissed. Their minds should be completely subjugated by now. The scanning data indicated no psychic defenses. Sarah smiled grimly, finally understanding. You wanted to test us, to see how easy we'd be to control. That's why you approached us with such generous offers. You wanted to study us up close. Zixtal's outer membrane rippled with agitation. Humanity represents an unknown factor in our carefully ordered galaxy. We needed to assess your capabilities and ensure you could be properly managed. But this result is unprecedented. Your species appears to have natural psychic resistance that adapts and strengthens when challenged. We've had to resist a lot of things on Earth, Sarah replied. her voice steady despite the continuing pressure in her head. Our minds evolve to be flexible, adaptable. Every human child learns to resist peer pressure, to think independently. Did you really think your artificial psychic constructs could override millions of years of evolutionary independence? The pressure suddenly ceased, leaving an almost painful silence in its wake. The council members were conferring rapidly in their own language, their agitation visible in the way their scales shifted colors. "This changes everything," Zixtel finally said. "We have never encountered a species naturally immune to our control methods. The implications are disturbing." "The implications," Sarah countered, "are that you should have tried honest diplomacy instead of attempted subjugation. Humanity would have been happy to peacefully join your galactic community. Now we know we can't trust you." As Sarah led her team back to their ship, she could feel the Exarians' compound eyes following their every move. They had come seeking peaceful first contact, but had discovered something far more important: humanity's unique resistance to alien control. It wouldn't be the last time the galaxy underestimated Earth's children. Maya caught up with her as they reached the airlock. "They'll try again, won't they? With something stronger next time." Sarah nodded, her expression grim but determined. "Of course they will. But now we know what we're dealing with, and more importantly, we know what we're capable of. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just another species to be conquered and controlled." As Haven's light detached from the Exarian vessel, Sarah was already composing her report to Earth Command. The galaxy was a more dangerous place than they'd imagined, but humanity had just proven they were more than ready to face its challenges. The real question now was, what other surprises did human biology have in store for their would-be conquerors? Adaptive advantage. 3 months after the failed attempt at psychic subjugation, the Exarian Empire launched their next offensive against humanity. Their target was New Eden, Earth's most distant colony and home to nearly 1 million settlers. The attack came not with warships or energy weapons, but in the form of microscopic engineered pathogens, the pride of Exarian biological warfare. Dr. Maya Patel stood in New Eden's primary medical center, staring at holographic displays of human cell interactions. What she saw both terrified and fascinated her. The Exarians had released thousands of engineered viral strains into the colony's atmosphere, each designed to target specific human biological systems. By all rights, the entire population should have been decimated within hours. Instead, something extraordinary was happening. "Doctor, you need to see this," her assistant, Dr. Tom Chen, called from across the lab. "The infection rate is dropping in Sector 7. Not just slowing, dropping." Maya hurried over to his station, her dark hair escaping its usually neat bun. The holographic display showed real-time data from the colony's medical monitoring system. Sector 7 had been one of the first hit, with exposure rates approaching 100% of the population. But now, barely 12 hours later, the viral load in infected patients was plummeting. "Show me the genetic sequencing," she demanded, fingers flying over the holographic controls. The display shifted, revealing the molecular structure of human cells from recently recovered patients. "This is impossible." But the evidence was right there in front of her. Human immune systems weren't just fighting off the engineered viruses. They were adapting to them at an unprecedented rate. More than that, the adaptations were being passed between humans through some previously unknown mechanism. "Get me Ambassador Chen," Maya ordered, never taking her eyes off the data. "She needs to see this immediately." Sarah Chen arrived within the hour, having been coordinating Earth's diplomatic response from New Eden's government center. The ambassador had aged years in the past 3 months, but her eyes were as sharp as ever as she studied the medical data. "Explain it to me in simple terms, Maya. What exactly are we looking at?" Maya gestured to the displays. "The Exarians hit us with everything they had. Engineered viruses, bacteria, even synthetic prions. Each one was specifically designed to attack human biology in different ways. But instead of succumbing, human immune systems are actually getting stronger. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. Sarah frowned. How is that possible? Remember how humans showed adaptive resistance to their psychic attacks? It seems that same adaptability extends to biological threats. Our immune systems are learning from each exposure, developing new defenses faster than the Exarians can engineer new attacks. But here's the really interesting part. These adaptations are spreading through the population like a beneficial contagion, through physical contact. Maya shook her head. That's just it. We don't know how. It's like our bodies are broadcasting immune system updates to everyone nearby. The Exarians' biological weapons are actually making us stronger as a species. A commotion at the lab entrance interrupted them. Dr. Chen rushed in, his face flushed with excitement. Dr. Patel, the latest results from the genetic study. You were right. The markers for pandemic resistance from the 21st century are activating. Somehow, the Exarian attack is triggering dormant genetic adaptations from humanity's past. Maya's eyes widened. Of course, Earth's disease history, every plague, every pandemic, every virus we've ever faced, left marks in our DNA. The Exarians didn't realize they were fighting not just modern humans, but the accumulated immune experience of our entire species. Sarah was already reaching for her communicator. Earth Command needs to know about this. But first, how long until the colony is completely resistant? At current adaptation rates. Maya checked the data. Another 48 hours. But that's not all. The colonists who've recovered are showing enhanced immune responses to everything, not just the Exarian bioweapons. It's like our immune systems have been supercharged. And the Exarians. Their attack failed completely. Worse for them, we've now got samples of their bioengineering technology to study. Give me a few weeks, and we might be able to turn their own weapons against them. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They thought we'd be easy prey. Instead, they've given us exactly what we needed to defend ourselves, and possibly more. Over the next few days, as news of humanity's biological resilience spread through the colony, Maya noticed something else. The colonists were walking taller, more confident. The knowledge that their bodies could adapt to and overcome any biological threat had awakened something in them, a fierce pride in their human heritage. In her lab, Maya continued studying the phenomenon. The holographic displays now showed something unprecedented. Human cells weren't just adapting to current threats. They were developing preemptive defenses against potential future attacks. It was as if millions of years of evolution had prepared humanity not just to survive in a hostile universe, but to thrive in it. Send this data to all Earth colonies, she told her team. Every human needs to know what we're capable of. The Exarians thought they could break us with engineered diseases. Instead, they'd helped us discover one of our greatest strengths. As she worked late into the night, Maya couldn't help but wonder what other surprises human biology held. The Exarians had tried psychic control and biological warfare, and both had failed spectacularly. What would they try next? And more importantly, what new abilities would their attacks unlock in humanity? The answers would come sooner than anyone expected, and they would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The counterstrike. Lieutenant James Rodriguez stood in the engineering bay of the ESS Prometheus, Earth's first reverse-engineered warship, watching as his team made final adjustments to the captured Exarian technology. What had started as desperate salvage operations after failed attacks on human colonies had evolved into something the aliens never expected. Humans weren't just using their technology, they were improving it. Run the efficiency calculations again, he ordered, studying the holographic display of the ship's modified drive system. The original Exarian design had been elegant but limited by their rigid thinking. Human engineers had taken one look at it and asked, why not both? Chief Engineer Kira Yoshida's hands danced over the control panel. New configuration is showing 147% efficiency compared to the original Exarian specs. We're not just matching their technology anymore, sir. We're surpassing it. James nodded, satisfaction evident in his expression. The Exarians had built their technology to be perfect, unchangeable, each component precisely engineered for a specific purpose. But humans had evolved to adapt, to jury-rig, to see connections where none existed before. Where the Exarians saw finished products, humans saw starting points. Status report from the weapons lab. His comm unit chimed. Dr. Victor Santos, their lead weapons researcher, appeared on the holographic display. Lieutenant, you're going to want to see this. We've successfully integrated the psychic resistance patterns from human neural networks into the ship's defensive systems. On my way, James replied, already moving. The corridors of the Prometheus were a strange hybrid of human and Exarian design. Practical human engineering merged with alien biotechnology in ways that would have horrified the original creators. The weapons lab was chaos of productive energy. Teams of scientists and engineers worked at various stations, each focused on different aspects of their revolutionary hybrid technology. Dr. Santos met him at the entrance, practically bouncing with excitement. "Watch this," Victor said, leading him to a central testing chamber. Inside, an Exarian psychic weapon, captured during their last failed attack, was mounted opposite a shield generator of human design. Initiating test sequence. The alien weapon powered up, its crystalline structure pulsing with deadly energy. The psychic blast it released would have turned an unprotected human brain to mush. Instead, it splashed harmlessly against the shield, which rippled with familiar patterns, the same neural resistance patterns that had protected humanity during the first contact. "We've done it," Victor announced proudly. "We've replicated humanity's natural psychic resistance in technological form. Every ship in the fleet can now be protected against their mental attacks." James studied the readings carefully. "And the biological warfare countermeasures. Even better." Dr. Patel's team provided samples of the adapted human immune responses. "We've developed a system that can generate an energy field mimicking those same adaptive properties. Any biological weapon that hits our ships will be neutralized instantly." A different alarm sounded. Priority communication from command. Ambassador Chen's face appeared on the main screen, her expression urgent but controlled. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, how close are you to combat readiness?" "Final systems check in progress, Ambassador. We've exceeded all expected parameters." "The Prometheus isn't just ready for defense. She's ready to take the fight to them." Sarah nodded. "Good, because we've just intercepted Exarian communications. They're preparing for a full-scale assault on our colonies. They're bringing everything they have left, convinced that we must have some hidden weakness they haven't found yet." "They still don't understand," James said, shaking his head. "Every attack just makes us stronger. Each piece of technology they use against us becomes ours to improve upon." "Precisely, which is why the Council has authorized Operation Turning Point. Your mission is to take the Prometheus and show the Exarians exactly what humanity can do with their own technology." The briefing that followed was intense. The Prometheus would lead a fleet of hybrid warships in a decisive strike against the approaching Exarian armada. But their goal wasn't destruction. It was demonstration. "Remember," Sarah emphasized, "we want to show them that peaceful cooperation is their best option. Use enough force to prove our capabilities, but leave them room to reconsider their choices." Hours later, as the Prometheus moved into position at the head of humanity's first space fleet, James couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Each ship represented thousands of hours of human ingenuity, taking alien technology and reshaping it into something new, something better. "All ships reporting ready," Kira announced from her station. "Hybrid drives functioning at peak efficiency. Shield modifications holding stable. Weapons systems online and adapted for non-lethal engagement." James took a deep breath, surveying his crew, each chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think creatively, to adapt on the fly. The Exarians were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their immunity to alien attacks. It was their ability to take anything thrown at them and turn it into an advantage. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "Operation Turning Point is go. Let's show the galaxy what happens when you push humanity to evolve." The Prometheus surged forward, leading humanity's counterstrike not with vengeance or conquest in mind, but with the determination to prove that cooperation would always be better than conflict. The Exarians had tried to subjugate humanity through force. Instead, they had helped create something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that could take any weapon used against them and transform it into a tool for peace. The hidden truth. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the captured Exarian research facility, surrounded by holographic displays showing millions of years of evolutionary data. The facility, located on a remote asteroid in neutral space, had been peacefully surrendered after the Prometheus's demonstration of human technological adaptation. What Maya found in its databases changed everything she thought she knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. "This can't be right," she muttered, cross-referencing the data for the third time. "Ambassador, are you seeing this?" Sarah Chen nodded slowly, her eyes scanning the comparative analysis of species development across the galaxy. "I'm seeing it, Maya, but I'm not sure I believe it. Every single spacefaring race, except humans, was engineered," Maya finished. "The Exarians, the Centaurians, even the extinct precursor races, they all artificially accelerated their evolution. They designed themselves for specific purposes, optimizing their biology for particular environments and technologies." The holographic displays showed detailed genetic histories of dozens of species. Each one had clear markers of artificial enhancement, their DNA modified over generations to achieve what they saw as perfection. But humanity's genetic timeline was drastically different. "Look at this," Maya pointed to a particular dataset. "Earth's history of natural disasters, climate changes, predators, diseases, everything that tried to kill us made us more adaptable. While other species were designing themselves for specific conditions, we were evolving to handle anything the universe could throw at us." Dr. Victor Santos, who had joined them from the Prometheus, whistled softly. "That explains why their weapons keep failing against us. They designed their technology to work against engineered biologies. They never considered what natural evolution might produce." "It's more than that," Maya said, pulling up new displays. "Their genetic engineering was brilliant but fundamentally flawed. They optimized themselves for stability, for perfection in their chosen traits. But they sacrificed adaptability in the process. They can't evolve anymore, not naturally." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "And that's why they were so threatened by us. Not just because we were immune to their weapons, but because we represent something they lost long ago. The ability to change, to grow, to become something new." "Exactly." Maya's fingers flew over the controls, bringing up more data. "Human DNA still contains traces of every challenge we've ever faced. Our ancestors survived ice ages, megavolcanoes, countless diseases. Each crisis left its mark in our genes, creating layers of redundant survival mechanisms that can be reactivated when needed." Like what happened with their biological weapons, Victor realized. The attacks triggered ancient immune responses we didn't even know we had. "And our psychological resistance," Sarah added. "Natural selection favored humans who could think independently, who could resist group pressure when needed. We evolved real mental independence while they tried to engineer it." Maya nodded enthusiastically. "But here's the most incredible part. We're still evolving. Every challenge we face, every new environment we adapt to, it gets added to our genetic library. We're not just using our past adaptations, we're creating new ones all the time." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just another species in the galaxy. They were possibly the last naturally evolved spacefaring race. While other species had sought shortcuts to advancement, Earth's harsh conditions had forged humanity into something unique. A species that thrived on change and challenge. "There's something else," Maya said quietly, pulling up one final display. "The Exarians' research suggests that engineered species eventually hit evolutionary dead ends. Their perfect designs can't adapt to major changes in the galaxy. They've been searching for a solution, watching natural species develop, hoping to find a way to restore their ability to evolve. Sarah finished. That's why they approached us with those generous offers at first. They didn't just want to study us. They needed us. Victor laughed suddenly. All this time, they were testing us, trying to prove we were worth conquering. Instead, they proved we're the one thing they can't defeat: natural selection itself. Sarah was already reaching for her communicator. This changes our entire approach. We're not just negotiating from a position of military strength now. We have something they desperately need. The question is, Maya said, still studying the data, do we help them? After everything they've done. We help them, Sarah replied without hesitation. Not because they deserve it, but because that's what humanity does. We adapt, we overcome, and we help others do the same. It's literally in our DNA. As the implications of their discovery spread through human space, a new understanding began to emerge. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their immunity to alien weapons or their ability to improve alien technology. It was something far more fundamental: the pure, unengineered resilience that came from facing challenge after challenge and surviving through adaptation rather than design. Maya spent hours documenting everything they'd learned. The galaxy's engineered species had created remarkable civilizations, but in pursuing perfect adaptation to known conditions, they'd lost the ability to adapt to the unknown. Humanity, shaped by Earth's unpredictable challenges, had retained that crucial ability, and now held the key to helping other species reclaim it. Send this to Earth Command, she told her team. But mark it as share freely. Every species in the galaxy needs to understand. True strength doesn't come from engineering the perfect solution. It comes from maintaining the ability to find new solutions when the universe changes the rules. Evolution's champions. 1 year after the discovery of the truth about galactic evolution, the Great Hall of the Exarian High Council looked very different. Where once there had been only the crystalline architecture of engineered perfection, now there were signs of change and adaptation. Living walls showed evidence of natural growth patterns, and the council members themselves had begun to show subtle variations in their previously uniform appearances. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the assembled representatives of 24 spacefaring species, her presence a testament to how much had changed. The former enemies were now partners in one of the most ambitious projects in galactic history. The results from the first phase of the Evolutionary Restoration Project are beyond our most optimistic projections, she announced, gesturing to the holographic displays floating above the assembly. Dr. Patel, please share the details. Maya stepped forward, her confidence having grown with her understanding of their place in the galaxy. Using templates derived from human DNA, we've successfully reactivated dormant evolutionary mechanisms in 3 volunteer species. The Exarians were our first success, but the Centaurians and Rigelians have also shown promising results. The displays showed cellular imagery of the changes, engineered perfection giving way to natural variation, rigid structures becoming flexible, adaptable. It was like watching life remember how to dance. Most importantly, Maya continued, we're seeing the return of natural adaptive responses. The modified species are developing their own solutions to environmental challenges rather than requiring engineered updates. High Counselor Zixtal, now bearing distinctive patterns that set him apart from his peers, rose to speak. When we first encountered humanity, we saw their variability as a weakness. We thought our engineered uniformity represented the pinnacle of evolution. We were wrong in ways we couldn't have imagined. Lieutenant Rodriguez, standing at the back of the hall, smiled slightly. The Prometheus had been transformed into a mobile research platform, its hybrid technology now used to help species rediscover their evolutionary heritage rather than wage war. The process isn't easy, Maya acknowledged. Natural evolution involves trial and error, failure, and success. Some of you may experience discomfort as your bodies remember how to change. but we've seen remarkable results in unexpected areas. The holographic displays shifted to show Axarian children, the first generation born since the restoration project began. Unlike their engineered ancestors, each child was subtly unique, showing natural variation in size, coloring, and even cognitive approaches. "We're not just restoring biology," Sarah explained. "We're restoring possibility." Each species that reclaims their evolutionary heritage gains not just adaptability, but creativity, innovation, the ability to see beyond engineered perfection to new potential. From her position near the main displays, Dr. Kure Yoshida, now head of the Technological Integration Division, added her own insights. "We've seen similar patterns in technological development. As species regain their adaptive capabilities, they're beginning to innovate in ways they couldn't before. The rigid perfection of engineered systems is giving way to hybrid solutions that combine the best of multiple approaches." The evidence was all around them. The hall itself was a testament to the change. Axarian biotechnology, merging with human-inspired innovations, creating spaces that could grow and adapt to their inhabitants' needs. Even their ships were evolving, each species contributing their unique perspectives to create vessels that were more capable than anything they could have engineered alone. But perhaps the most significant change, Sarah continued, has been in how we view ourselves and each other. The galaxy is no longer divided between engineered and natural species. We're all on an evolutionary journey together. She gestured to the assembled representatives, each showing signs of their own species' reawakening. "A year ago, we stood on the brink of war. Today, we're partners in the greatest experiment in galactic history, the return to natural evolution." Maya brought up one final display, a real-time map of the galaxy showing the spread of evolutionary restoration. Points of light indicated species beginning their journey back to adaptability, creating a growing network of natural diversity. "Earth's harsh history forced us to maintain our evolutionary adaptability," Maya explained. "Now that same adaptability is helping other species remember what they lost. But we're not just teaching, we're learning too. Each species that recovers their evolutionary heritage brings new insights, new possibilities we never imagined." The assembly hall buzzed with energy as representatives shared their own experiences of change and adaptation. Species that had once competed for dominance were now collaborating, sharing their unique perspectives and abilities. The rigid hierarchy of engineered perfection had given way to a dynamic ecosystem of evolving civilizations. "We stand at a turning point in galactic history," Sarah concluded. "Not because of weapons or technology or even biology, but because we've remembered something fundamental. True perfection isn't a final state to be engineered. It's the ability to keep growing, learning, and adapting together." As the assembly moved to approve the next phase of the restoration project, Sarah found herself reflecting on how far they'd come. What had started as a conflict between natural and engineered evolution had transformed into something far more profound, a galaxy rediscovering the power of natural diversity and the strength that comes from facing challenges together. The Axarians had tried to conquer humanity, only to discover that what they really needed was to learn from them. And humanity, in helping others reclaim their evolutionary heritage, had found their true place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or victims, but as champions of the endless dance of adaptation and growth that had shaped them on their small, challenging world called Earth. "Ready for the next phase?" Maya asked, joining her at the viewport overlooking the shipyards where vessels of a dozen species were being adapted with new hybrid technologies. Sarah nodded, watching the distant stars. "Evolution never stops, does it? There's always another challenge, another adaptation waiting to be discovered. That's what makes it beautiful," Maya replied. "Not the perfection we achieve, but the journey of becoming something new." Together, they watched as ships of former enemies departed on joint missions of discovery, each crew a mix of species learning to adapt and grow together. The galaxy was changing, evolving into something none of them could have engineered. And that was exactly the point.